24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. It's all we get. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it can seem like time is just not enough for all the things that we have to do. The reality is that we can't do all the things every single day. But in this video, I wanted to share some tips that have helped me as a homeschool mom able to manage my time and try my best to be most efficient with the time that the Lord has given me. These are just my tips, things that have worked well for our home. I understand that every home is different and what works for me may not work for you. There are 5 steps to time management that I want to share in this video. The first is take inventory. Take an inventory of all the different hats that you wear as a homeschool mom. Second one is to give it a home. So assign each task a home. Third one are different tips for the different hats that we wear. The fourth is to evaluate how things are going. And the fifth is to adjust as necessary. We're going to walk through each one of these 5 steps. The first step is take inventory of all of the hats that you wear. There are a lot of different hats that we wear as homeschool moms. And I think that many times it's easy to feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions. But it's so great just to make inventory and see really what is on my plate. In step number 3, we'll talk about actual tips for each of these hats. But in this first step, I just wanted to lay out what are the different hats that we could wear as a homeschool mom. The first hat is our homeschool mom hat. And this can have different parts. 2 of these parts are the actual prepping of our homeschool and the teaching. Hat number 2 is our food hat. I think that one of the biggest things, the responsibilities that we have is feeding our family. And it's something that takes time. Grocery shopping, the cooking, the prepping of the food. It's the second hat that we wear. The third hat that we wear is our home maintenance hat. It's the daily tasks, the weekly tasks that we do to be able to care for the home that the Lord has given us. Fourth hat is our personal care hat. This is us taking care of us, right? The temple of the Holy Spirit, our lives. And there are different parts of taking care of ourselves. We have 3 parts to us. We're spirit, we're soul, we're body. Each of these parts needs maintenance and needs attention and needs rest. The 5th hat is our wife mom hat. I almost split this out into 2 because they really are 2 different hats. But I put it together just because a lot of the needed of us as a wife and as a mom can be similar. 6th hat is our outside ministry hat. Service that we do outside of our home. This could be serving in our local church, in our local communities, different kingdom projects that God lays in our hearts to be able to serve those around us. And hat is our outside work hat. So I know there are many homeschool moms that also work in addition to homeschooling. So there's also that to balance in as well. Step number 2, once you've laid out all these hats, is to give each hat a home. And I think the first thing that's so helpful is to determine whether a task is a daily task, something that has to happen every single day. For example, cooking, for example, teaching homeschool, versus maybe a weekly task, something like grocery shopping. And then there are those tasks that are going to vary from family to family. For example, if for some families, laundry, in some homes, I know a 1 day a week laundry works best. For other homes, a little bit each day. So you want to look at your particular list and your family's needs and determine what are daily tasks. What has to happen every single day? And maybe what things can I put under the weekly task category and just do it once or maybe twice a week? Once you determine that, what I like to do is just take a sheet of paper and do a weekly layout where I can kind of set up my paper from Sunday to Saturday, also putting a place for notes, and just start jotting down. Take my list of all the hats that I wear and just start jotting down all of these tasks, giving it a home, giving it a specific day. So Wednesday, for example, can be my grocery shopping day. Saturday is my homeschool prep day, right? So really laying out and giving each one of these tasks a home. Doing it in this way is so helpful because you're able to see the week as a whole, and it helps you not overburden one particular day and really kind of spread it out in a more realistic way. For example, for me, I know that I have a lot more energy on Monday than I do on Friday. So I try to take that into account in how I lay out my week and the tasks that I put every single day. And also make certain decisions. For example, in my case, I like to limit all outings to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So things like grocery shopping or doctor's appointments, those extra things that sometimes get added in, I like to leave Mondays and Fridays free. Why? Because I feel like Monday, you're able to really get into the homeschool week, get everything rolling. Having to like leave and then come back, for me anyways, I feel like it just interrupts kind of the flow of the day. But when you can have a nice solid start on Monday, for us, it really helps. And then Friday also, because it allows me kind of to reset everything to start our weekend. So leaving all of those tasks Tuesday to Thursday really helps. Something like that. Again, you'll determine what works best for your family, but having that intentional planning and giving each task a home is so helpful week to week. All right, step number 3, I wanted to give some quick tips for each one of the hats that I shared. The first is our homeschooling hat. And I honestly think there's a lot that we could share. And I'm sure there's so much that you could share as well. What helps you manage your time as a homeschool mom. There are 2 parts to this homeschool hat. There's the prep and there's actual teaching. And the prep can look in ways. For us, what works best is having a full year plan. My mom homeschool planner, if you haven't seen this video, I'll be sure to link it down below, where it has my full year plan. So I kind of make an overall plan for the year, and I do plan the full year. That's just kind of how my brain works. But then I also plan week to week. So I take this every single weekend and I take a look at where we are. I look at my plan and decide, is there something that needs to be adjusted? Many times I'll slow down my original plan, or maybe I'll speed it up. So having annual plan and also that week to week plan is so helpful. And I try to split it out, not just one day, but have it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a little bit each day. I can still enjoy my weekend, but I also am ready to go on Monday for the new homeschool week. Teaching, it's so helpful to think of subject order, group subjects versus independent subjects. And I talked a lot more about that, how to homeschool multiple grade levels videos. I'm gonna link that video in case you'd like to check out more tips about how to lay out your week, how to lay out your subjects, how to homeschool multiple grade levels and multiple children. Our second hat was food. And as I mentioned, having a designated grocery shopping day, I think is so helpful. And planning out your meals as much as you can. And again, you'll decide of what that means for your family. But being able to think ahead, what meals do I want to prepare this week? And what materials do I need for those meals? That will help as you grocery shop and plan your meals. Something so simple as pulling out meat in the morning to defrost will really set you up for your dinner. And I think that thinking ahead is one of the best things to make sure that we can feed our families. So one thing I always tell my husband is I have to be one step ahead of the hunger. So I have to be sure that I'm thinking ahead of a meal. So I'm not waiting till dinner time to start thinking of dinner. But if I'm prepping breakfast and making breakfast, I'm already thinking of dinner. Something that also helps as far as speaking of breakfast for us has been to make a designated meal plan for breakfast. Chosen 5 breakfasts that the boys enjoy, and we give each breakfast a day. So there's the Monday breakfast, Tuesday breakfast, Wednesday breakfast, Thursday breakfast, and Friday breakfast. And every week it's the same, but they are getting different breakfasts each day. So nobody gets tired of the same thing. And it's something that also doesn't make me have to think, what are we gonna have for breakfast every day? I just look at the day of the week, I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. Okay, I know what that means. And so that's helpful also as you are planning your meals. My home maintenance hat, the biggest tip I could say is strive for consistency. I think if we can stay atop of the task to maintain our home, it makes things much easier. Also to involve the kids. Depending on the ages, you'll determine what's appropriate. But involving our children in the maintenance of our homes is wonderful because it's their home too. And allowing them to understand that they are part of taking care of that which God has given us. It is a blessing to have a home, and we want to be good stewards of what God has given us. Also be realistic, extend grace when grace needs to be extended, and realize that there are some days that things may not happen. And that happens, that's reality. But I think if we strive for consistency, most of the time, we feel a little bit better of extending ourselves that grace when it's just not possible. Personal care. I think this is something that's so easy to overlook, but if we are wearing all of these hats, it is so important to take care of ourselves. Reality is, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have different parts, right? And we're spiritual beings, we're emotional beings, we're also physical beings. So we want to take care of each of those parts. The spiritual part is the most important, it's essential. And I honestly could make a whole video just to talk about this because I feel so passionate about this, because measure of that I've been able to prioritize my time with the Lord and give him that priority in my life and priority in my time. I have seen how he has helped me in all other areas of my life. Every single morning I go to the Lord and I tell him, Lord, what would you have me do with my time, in my time with him? And he's so faithful to always outline and highlight those things, those priority things that really need my attention that day, and which things maybe can just be put off for another day. So giving him that freedom within my time, giving my time to him has really been a game changer for me. Also, that time with him, time in his presence, time praying, time reading the word, sharing my heart with him, bringing him my needs, allowing him the time to speak to my heart, that personal relationship with the Lord, being to anchor my soul in him, it has made all the difference and is truly what refuels me and what maintains me. So I encourage you. I know that we all have different realities, our children have different ages, different responsibilities. We all have different hats. But this is a really important, the care of our relationship with the lover of our soul. So I want to care for our emotions, taking care of those relationships in our lives, and also our physical body. So taking time to exercise, to eat right, all of those things are going to help us as we move forward. The fifth hat is our wife and mom hat. And I think for the biggest tip I could say for this is quality over quantity. Many times we don't have hours and hours and hours to dedicate maybe one-on-one to our children or maybe with our spouse, but having those intentional times as a family, to seek the presence of God, to laugh together. All of those things are so important. And it's important, sometimes we have to schedule those in. Sometimes we have to intentionally find the time to be able to stop everything else and to just be together. You know, where I'm not teacher, I'm not all these other things, I'm just mom or I'm just wife. And I think that's beautiful to be able to treasure those relationships and truly invest in them. Outside service, the biggest tip I could say is serve as a family as much as possible. It's something that my husband and I believe so much in, that it's such a blessing if you're serving in your local church or in your community to be able to do it as a family, to sit as a family and see how do we want to use the time and the resources that God has given us to be able to be a blessing to others. So I think that also brings unity, and it's something that needs to be intentional, but I think it's something that's such a blessing when we can do that. And finally, outside work. It can be challenging to try to balance it. But again, as much as you can give each one of these things at home, it will be a huge help and blessing to you in the end. The fourth step is evaluate. Month to month, year to year, we have to look at it and see what works. When this new homeschool year started, I sat down and I had to readjust a lot of things because many things have changed in our lives from last year. So it's really important to be able to continuously evaluate and know that it's okay to change things. It's okay if something's not working. We trust the God that has called us, and that if He has called us to this, He will bring provision, even when things change.
As I was sitting here editing the video, I realized it was something that I didn't share that I really wanted to share that was on my heart. It's regarding our time stealers, so things that come to steal our time. I think that we can make the most amazing plans and schedule and do, but there are things in our lives that are stealing our time. Those things maybe that aren't as important, right? We know social media, so many other things that come rob us of our very valuable time. We can do all the planning we want, but ultimately that time is going to be sucked away. So I think when we're evaluating what's working, what's not working, something that's so helpful is to think, is there anything right now in my life that's stealing my time? And then make an adjustment and ask God to help us to be good stewards and kind of remove those attention stealers from our life as much as we can.
After that evaluation is done, we have to give ourselves the freedom, Mom, to be able to adjust as needed. Things don't always have to be the same. And I think for those of us that are checklist types, it can be kind of hard to understand that. But it's such a blessing when we can allow that freedom to say, you know what? This isn't working, it needs to be adjusted, and allow the Lord to guide us to the plan that will actually work, and continue with that adjustment of our time. Will not be perfect, but we give the Lord our best. We give Him all of our heart, we give Him our time, we give Him our strength, and we ask Him to give us the priorities of His heart, and that those become the priorities of ours. If you have time management tips that have been helpful to you as a homeschool mom, please share in the comments below. I think it's wonderful to hear what works for different families, and we can all continue to learn from each other. May the Lord bless you and your family. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you soon.